This past month, we had 3 chapters of Kagurabachi, 127, 128, and 129. All shorter chapters, only 15 pages on all of them. But in my opinion, they were very high quality chapters. Art was absolutely stunning. Just the way Hokazono's art sort of conveys those emotions. I mean, it's just breathtaking, in my opinion.
I think he's drowning the ink supplies. That's all I'm gonna say.
True. That's what people have been saying. But if you look at that last page of this most recent chapter, a lot of white, right? So not as much ink there. A very bright page, very beautiful page, also.
I mean, maybe.
But it is interesting with these last few chapters. We'll touch on this a little bit later because there have been some people that have said that it's sort of been bogged down a little bit, or that's how it felt to them, which I understand in some respects because when we did the pod a month ago, we were still kind of on the same topic, right? Of Kunishige+Chiaki, and they're making they're smelting the material or whatever. They're not even making the swords yet. They're just like making the metal. I don't know the technical terms for the whole like steel making process, but you know what I'm saying. And we are still kind of on that with only 3 chapters, and they all were shorter. So, in some respects, I can understand why people are saying that, but I personally have loved these chapters, and Kunishige has become one of my favorite characters in the series from this, little stretch. So I understand why some people may have the reservations, but these chapters for me have really elevated his character in my eyes, and so I've enjoyed them.
I mean, he started everything, so he needs an origin story. I don't know.
Yeah, and this is something that we touched on last month as well. We started towards the beginning of that episode. I mentioned that I had asked you, remember, hey, what's Chihiro's dad's name again before we started recording? Right, it's Kunishige, right?
I remember now.
But I think it's so cool because in this most recent chapter 129, we get that little flashback of Chiaki basically telling him the same thing. And so it's just really interesting that we had that conversation about, like, you called him Rokuhira. That's his family name, right? That's what I'm sure a lot of people in universe know him as, even after the Enchanted Blades, right? It's like his family name. We'll touch on family in a little bit as well. But really, this is us getting to know Kunishige, and to me, it's really cool seeing us have that conversation last month, and then now hear Chiaki sort of mentioning that same dynamic, right? Obviously for her as a character with him. So on that note, that conversation in this chapter related to, it is a bit of a cliche, but Kunishige saying something like, oh, but I come from a trash family, right?
Mm-hmm.
So obviously his identity as Kunishige, which we've been talking about, is also within the context of his family name. And I think it's also really interesting. I love the way family is presented in Kagurabachi. The first Kagurabachi video we made 2 years ago was focused heavily on family. And I remember, I think I said something in that video of like, I'm curious to see how the family dynamics sort of play out as the series has gone on. And it is consistently one of the best things, in my opinion, about the series. Very, very consistently deals with those themes and deals with them very, very well. And in this case, I think it's really, really interesting. Touched on this a little bit last month as well. How that family name for Kunishige is so different, I'm sure, than Chihiro when he was growing up. Because at this point with Kunishige, he's once again comes from like a quote unquote trash family, right? Like his dad was just like some nobody blacksmith, abuser, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Chihiro sort of grows up, his dad's name, his family name is like legendary, right? Like he's known as the hero who ended the war with his enchanted blades by making the enchanted blades, right?
Yeah.
So like that's a really interesting, I think, dynamic there. Obviously, like I mentioned this, of course, in that analysis video on the Rakuzaichi arc, but Hakuri's whole character has to do with like his family and that character arc, right? And so really, really interesting the way family plays, even right now, right, with Chiaki and her relationship with the Soga clan and like what she feels like her duty is within the context of the whole, so there are just so many interesting family dynamics at play. And they're all kind of distinct and different from each other, right? And there's sort of this like overlying thread of like, nobody, you shouldn't be tied. So what's the word I'm looking for?
I guess, I don't know, just making where you come from your entire identity, I guess.
Right. But it's not that it doesn't matter, right? Like it does matter. Like those things shape who you are. We saw that with Hakuri. We see that obviously with Chihiro, right? With him sort of finding meaning in sort of new meaning in like his relationship with his father. But Kunishige as well, him sort of, obviously he comes from a family that's not great, but he takes some positives from that upbringing as well, and sort of transforms it into something that he can use to help, in his eyes, help other people. It's obviously complicated. We'll get into that more later as well. So just family dynamics, very cool. We'll probably end up making another video about that. That's more that will be like an analysis video that's scripted and stuff like that. But there are a lot of different threads, and I think these chapters really still touch on those themes very well. One thing also that the series, I think, has touched on a lot, but this tweet that we just saw points out that Hokazono, very large focus on eyes in the series, and it's really funny because one of the videos that we've been talking about making, I'll get around to it eventually, because we did do that analysis of the Rakuzaichi arc. Still want to do that analysis of the previous arc as well with Samura and his whole thing, although it's a very long arc. And so one of the things when Jason and I were talking about like how we want to narrow down the focus of talking about that arc was actually about Samura's eyes. And so that's really the direction that we wanted to take. And it's interesting now here too, the large focus on Kunishige's eyes. Mentioned his red eyes, right? Obviously, that he inherited from his father. And obviously that Chihiro inherited from him, that also, have superpowers, and they can just like have superhuman sight and like notice everything. That's cool. But it is really interesting, even just beyond like the imagery, just like thematically, like what it means to see something. Yeah. And even Chihiro, right? I think it was one of us, maybe even both of us, mentioned this in our notes or like posted a panel about it when we were talking about it beforehand. But Chihiro also saying that he wants to see with his own eyes. I think I posted that panel maybe.
Yeah,
I don't remember where exactly it's from.
Yeah, I come back to that panel a lot. Just seeing things with your own eyes, experiencing things, right? It comes back in this recent chapter too, which I think we're gonna get into later. Either way, seeing like literally or perceiving figuratively, or intangibly, I guess. That's a great way to put it, I think.
And I think it's just so interesting because I've been thinking about it already, because we are in the process of probably maybe making that video about Samura's eyes. But it does add extra context now to what those scenes with Samura's eyes and him seeing and stuff like that.
I guess literally what they saw.
Yeah. And that one's also interesting because there are also, I don't know if religious is the right word, but there are, I guess, religious connotations there too, or like implications there too, with like the Buddhist symbolism and stuff like that with Samura.
Yes.
So that's all very
see
interesting.
no evil.
Yeah. Jason, I'm going to give you the floor for a little bit because in your notes you mentioned the eyes as well, and like the color of his eyes when he sees. I don't know. I wasn't sure what you meant by that in your notes because it's a black and white manga. But you said something about the color of his eyes when he sees like Chiaki.
Oh, yeah. So panel. It was just something that I noticed when I was reading it at the time. You notice, I actually saw some leaks of the fucking eye images like before the chapter came out. So actually that was really annoying. But I noticed that, his eyes are kind of like dull and void when he's looking at his family.
Right.
But when Chiaki comes on screen, like the color, the shade of the eye is very similar to when he's looking at the forge. I had this thought recently when we were actually like literally a few minutes ago when we were talking about the ink. Notice that when they're first forging, this kind of goes in line with the swords. I'll connect it, I promise. But when they're first, smelting the iron or whatever, like when they're unsure that's gonna work, right?
Right.
It's really dark. But when it gets to like the final stages of smelting the iron, like it's all bright, so it looks like there's hope that it'll work, right?
Right, right. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and
So it goes back to the
so then it goes back to
the
Chiaki
brightness of the
because
page. Yeah. Okay.
so it goes
Yeah,
back to the brightness of the page because then to him, you know, Chiaki's like the swords are hope, right? But to him, Chiaki is hope because before then, you know, he was just kind of void on the inside. I was just struck by that. I guess it was me subconsciously like noticing like the you know the emphasis on eyes throughout the series. I didn't really, for some reason, I didn't notice until you mentioned it. But well, I guess there's little eyes on the page. So that's why I was thinking about it. But
yeah, and if you look through, I'm flipping through the chapter right now. The background in a lot of these pages is very dark as well.
Yeah,
like you see obviously the fireworks page is dark because you do that at night. That's what makes fireworks stand out. But I think that's the point, right? There's also like the rain in the background, the thunder clouds and stuff like that. So there's like darkness around it. So that makes so that's interesting. That there's something there too with the I guess the color composition there. No, good observation. Great observation. Then there's this line in this chapter that is going to be the bulk of I think a lot of our conversation here. About the humanity of Kunishige.
Yeah.
And we both had this in our notes. Let me see if I can find it.
Smelting is a human undertaking.
Yeah. So yeah, smelting is a human undertaking. Kunishige rokuhira is that human, right? So this is really, really interesting to me in the broader conversation because like I said earlier, Kunishige has become one of my favorite characters in the entire series.
Yeah,
I think he's a fascinating tragic character. I love his character so much. And my people ask me, I think I like him more than Chihiro right now. Is that crazy? I think I think if I were making a ranking of characters that I like, I think I have Kunishige above Chihiro right now. That might be crazy, but these chapters have really, really done something for me with his character.
I think for me, Chihiro actually still has time to develop. So I'm waiting.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like there's so much more time for Chihiro. Obviously, he's still the MC, right? Even though Kunishige right now is the MC. But I say that to say, I saw a couple people mention. I've generally been able to stay away from the discourse of the series. Partially because I've actually been behind throughout a lot of the series. Like I've been playing catch up a lot with reading. And so I haven't actually seen a lot of the discourse. Apparently, what I've discovered is that there were some people that have been critical of or that, I guess have been critical of the dynamic between Kunishige and Chiaki.
Mm.
So I think that's partially, from my understanding, is twofold. And if there's anyone out there who's watching this who understands the criticism maybe more than I do, and like maybe I'm misrepresenting it a little bit, then feel free absolutely to sort of explain the problems that people may have with that, whether good or bad. I think one thing that I have seen is people who have said they don't understand. Like we obviously see a lot from Kunishige's perspective. We see why she's important to him. We don't really know why he's important to her.
Yeah,
I think that's partially fair. Partially also, I guess they're just like, I don't know, childhood friends, I guess.
Well,
like
I don't know.
Maybe that's not enough, but I understand why people would be. Yeah.
Sorry. I guess I don't know. Because the thing is, she was kind of at least in the Soga family, she was kind of a screw up too. So
yeah, exactly.
I guess they relate on that level.
Like it's not like she's just like I don't know if Mary Sue's the right word. It's probably not Mary Sue, but like she's not just like the perfect love interest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she wasn't already a part of like the top tier of the Soga clan or whatever. Like she wasn't supposed to be the princess.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
go ahead.
Sorry. I think what would fix that is if we just saw them interact more.
Yeah, for sure.
Which we didn't have, so I guess it's sort of a valid criticism, but I mean, like, we're probably gonna see more panels of them interacting later. Like, I think it's fine.
I would think so, but there is. I do think maybe there are some pacing concerns with that. Of like, we still have a lot to get to in this arc.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how much time will be spent on that. So to a degree that is fair because it is very focused on Kunishige and the relationship feels one-sided from that respect. So I can see in terms of the way it's depicted. So I can understand part of that. The other part of it that I've seen a lot of when I went digging into what people are saying about the relationship is that there are some people who are criticizing Kunishige, not necessarily the writing, right? But like Kunishige's character. Because obviously you can have a character do things that are wrong and it's not bad writing. That can be good writing, right? So I'm not saying that these people are criticizing the writing. I'm saying, they're being critical of Kunishige's motivations, I guess. And, I'm going to pop these two up on the Jason, I'll send them to you real quick.
I haven't been reading Discourse at all. I just see like hype tweeting.
Yeah. That's the thing. I mostly saw that too until I saw someone mention that there were some people that were kind of critical of that dynamic, and so I went digging a little bit to see what people were saying. But some people have been critical of Kunishige, and honestly, I think there is some truth to what they're saying in terms of Kunishige's motivations. But that to the point of what started this whole conversation, and to link it back to what we were talking about previously about the part of Kunishige being human, is that to be human means to be right, to have complex, multifaceted motivations for why you want to do something, right? I think a lot of times when people talk about people's motivations to do something, they try to simplify it down to one reason, and I think generally speaking, people are more complicated than that. There can be times where it applies, but there are times where you do have conflicting, sometimes even motivations, and I think there is some of that with Kunishige. Obviously, there is an ego thing involved here too, with respect to his self-esteem. Like that is spelled pretty clearly in the chapters, and honestly, I probably wouldn't have even taken as much note of that if I hadn't seen some of these tweets of people, expressing what they dislike about Kunishige. Once again, I know that's not a criticism of the writing, that just like their opinion on the character and how it's written, which can be a good thing, right? Like you can like a character for being depicted in a flawed way, right? But I think he also does genuinely like care about Chiaki and want to save her. Like I think it's both those things, and I think that's what's the beauty of it, of the him being human part, right? Like it is the self-esteem, it is the ego, it is also him caring about her. To the other point, this other tweet that I don't know if I've put it up on the screen yet, but some people think that Kunishige starts are romantic, and some people think he's mentally ill. As some people in the replies point out, it's probably both, right?
It's both, yeah.
Like, yeah. And so there is a beauty in that, I think, in terms of how that's depicted, and I think it is relatable to a lot of people.
Plus, I don't know.
And I think the other, go ahead.
Plus, I don't know. Have you people ever loved somebody before? Like.
Yeah, I mean, you do irrational things sometimes.
But the thing is, because the thing is, like, when you love somebody, like, the thing is, like, I think it's so complicated because a lot of things even intertwine with each other. Like,
yeah.
Like, you can tell that she's a big part of his self-esteem. Because, because this, she's the reason he's even doing this in the first place, forging the iron. And, I just feel like people who are criticizing that are kind of missing that, if I'm being honest. Because, like, she reinforces him. So, obviously, if you have people, encouraging you, they're low-key going to be part of your ego a little bit, too, right? Like, you can't, like, they become a part of you. You can't really separate that,
There's also, and I honestly would have kind of missed it. I don't know if this was in a previous chapter also, and maybe I missed it, but maybe it was and I forgot. Because it's been a while since the chapter came out. But there is that panel here in this chapter, right after Kunishige, rokuhira, you are that human. You see a little, it's page 13, but you see this panel of the letter that Chiaki sent him, where you can see that she says, "Hey, I want to see you." And forgive me for not doing my due diligence and checking to verify if this, was in a previous chapter. But people are pointing out that like instead of going to see her, he's, I guess, ignored the letter to do all of this instead.
I did see that.
And so that's yeah. So there is some people saying that he's sort of going against her wishes. Although to be fair, like I think part of her accepting, quote unquote, the condition, like she doesn't want that either, right?
Yeah.
Like she's making the most of a bad decision in her or situation in her eyes, right? So he's also trying to save her from that. Now, who knows how it's going to end up? Because once again, to the point of like, you know, this whole process being a very human process full of like, you know, positives and negatives. We do know, and I saw someone else point this out as well. We do know that eventually he comes to regret this to some degree.
Yeah.
Right? Of making the enchanted blades. So we do know that this eventually his feelings about this will become complicated.
Yeah.
And so there maybe is some truth to what a lot of these people are saying in terms of the criticism of him. But I do think it's complicated. I don't think it's purely negative, you know, and I don't think it's purely positive, to be fair, also because of the fact that he is creating these weapons of mass destruction that there is cause for concern for, right?
Yeah.
But he is also doing it for someone he like really cares about.
I mean,
so
if I'm being honest, I feel like the criticism is a little bit nitpicky, because the characters themselves like address those kinds of things like multiple times throughout the series. Like even him at this age, like he already has like a principle system in place for making blades for people. Like it's literally only why he's made like, I don't know. Like, That's true. He does have those principles. But once again, even with those principles, even with him sort of learning, quote unquote, from the experience of his father, he does still eventually come to regret this a little bit. We know that. Yeah. Right? Like in the future, he that's why he created Enten. Was to, you know, undo some of the damage that he did. And so there is that like complicated dynamic of like, once again, very human dynamic of I'm doing something for an understandable reason, but there are drawbacks that maybe you don't look at because, you know, you're so fixated on the moment. Very human, right? Yeah. And I think that makes it very complicated, but also very interesting. And I'm really, really curious how that develops and to what degree that regret, you know, how big is it and how, you know, I'm very curious how we're going to look at this scene once this arc is finished, I guess. Yeah.
Once we sort of get to see the full picture.
Yeah, I guess my thing regarding like I'm just like openly responding to the criticism, I guess. Like
fair.
Like it's fine to, you know, it's fine to question a character's decisions and things like that. But like if we were to look at these characters as actual people, there is portrayal of these people, you know, thinking through their actions already or regretting them after, you know, which we're already talking about. In fact, that's kind of the entire point of the plot, you know, just kind of coming back to being human. Like at the end of the day, it's about perception, right? Like, it just brings me back to, you know, at the beginning when his father tells him, you need to look at the world through your own eyes and determine what kind of blade it needs, right? If anything, it just gives us more nuance to talk about, you know, later when he actually starts, you know, forging the blades, I guess. Shout out to Cloud Gouger with the lightning coming out of the sky. So
yeah, I see some people speculating it could be Cloud Gouger. I think that's a little bit weird because technically the first contract it has to be with the Shinuchi, right? Like I'm very curious how that's
I actually don't know. It's weird. I was kind of thinking about it earlier. I was like, were the blades forged first and then the contract was made, or were the contracts
so this
made?
could be Cloud Gouger. Yeah, I mean, it could be Cloud Gouger.
I don't know.
Right, and then he just doesn't forge the contracts. But I don't know how. We don't know the minutia of how that's going to work out yet.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting to see. Yeah, no. So that's a very interesting topic, and we can probably argue in circles about that. And that's a topic that's ripe for analysis for a full video eventually. But
or we could just go on Twitter and argue with people.
Yeah, no, but a similar thing from this discussion, a couple of theories that I saw when I went digging. I unfortunately don't have any posts to show right here, but there are some theories about Chiaki in all of this. So you know, to the point of like the relationship between Kunishige and Chiaki. Is Kunishige doing something that Chiaki, you know, doesn't like? But I have seen some theories. Out there of like, I was like, you know, browsing like Twitter and Reddit and doing some digging on what people are saying. But do we technically know that Chiaki's dead? Last month when we were talking about Chiaki, I said that presumably this arc ends with her dying. You know, I did say presumably, but technically we don't know that, right?
Yeah,
like
sure.
we don't know for sure. So I guess it's technically possible she's alive, but if she is, like, is she evil, quote unquote, or like is she a villain? I know there are some people who have like theories of her being the one to like caused the malediction actually in some way. I actually don't know how I would feel about that. I don't think I would love that, but I also have a lot of trust in Hokazono as a writer to trust the process. But if not that, there are some theories. Is she a villain in some way? And honestly, I don't know. You know,
Yeah, me neither.
It's interesting to speculate about because we really don't know that much about her.
Yeah.
We obviously have no idea what happens to her. I said she presumably dies, but we don't even have like a stated cause of death or anything.
Yeah,
She just kind of wasn't.
this makes me
Yeah.
remember a theory I saw a long time ago. Like
What's that?
back when they first encountered the, I don't know what to call them, the cult people. Oh, yeah, the original, Datenseki people.
Yeah.
I remember some people were saying that I forgot what the leader of the Hishaku, I forgot his name.
Yura?
Yeah, they were saying that Yura was like a Soga or something, or like
Oh yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
her family member or something. I remember seeing that a while ago. It just made me remember.
Yeah, yeah, and I saw some people saying like, what if she's like linked to the Hishaku in some way? I don't know. I some crazy theories out there. We had a lot to talk about already, so we're not gonna. And I don't have like a post. Unfortunately, I didn't save any of those posts. Unfortunately, so I don't have anything to show you guys to dive into specifically. But I did want to bring that up because I do think it's tangentially related to that conversation we were having about Kunishige and Chiaki's relationship, and just to bring it up and as something to keep an eye on. Because
Well,
it did get me to start thinking, like, technically we don't know she's dead, so.
well, here's what I'll say: if she is related in any way to Hishaku, or any of this, if she's even still alive, we really only have like qualities that already have been spoken of her to lie back on. Kunishige did say that Chihiro is logical like her, so it might have to connect to quote
Yeah.
unquote logical things. I don't know. We'll see.
It would also go back to, like, the family thing, right? Like, Chihiro said something interesting when he found out Akemura is his uncle. Remember he said something like, I felt disgusted that I was related to this guy, something like that. I don't know
Yeah,
if you remember that scene.
I think
And
I
so
slightly remember.
yeah.
I feel like he said something else too,
Uh,
but I don't remember right now.
Yeah, I don't remember it, but he said something to the effect of, like, I feel disgusted that I'm related to him.
Oh, I remember
Uh,
now. He said, "Oh, this is probably why they didn't. One of the reasons why I didn't want to talk about the malediction to me."
right. Yeah. That's right. And so that would add another interesting dynamic there. Although once again, I don't know how I would feel about that. It would just be a kind of wait and see thing. So there's not too much to talk about there, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
One more thing to talk about with respect to the chapter: Shiba the goat, finally,
Shiba the
finally going
goat.
crazy, finally having this moment, right? I mean, you had that in your notes, so floor is yours.
Shiba the goat. Yeah, I don't know. I think I really enjoyed the panel where I'm pretty sure everyone has seen this, but I'll just gush about it a little bit. The panel where he transitions from trying to drag Kunishige away to
Yup.
putting his hand to support him. That's so great.
And it's parallels too with sort of, and I saw someone, once again, I wish I had the tweet. I didn't save it. I should have.
I think I saw this tweet
But
too.
parallels too to, what's that?
I think I saw the parallels too. Like
Yeah. The parallels
um,
to his relationship with Chihiro and how he, and that's
Yeah.
complicated too. How he sort of did admit, like, hey, if I was a responsible adult, I would probably stop Chihiro, right? And going back to the human thing, right? Like the good and the bad sort of complicated motivations thing going on there. I think we see that with Shiba. So with the
Yeah.
interesting parallel of how he's sort of supporting Kunishige now, or I guess then, versus how he's supporting Chihiro now. Very
Yeah, I
cool
mean,
stuff.
he's just there for our goats. I can't
Yeah.
complain too much.
He's the GOAT. And I think it's interesting because I remember early on in the series where Shiba felt like he was cool, but like we didn't know anything about him.
Yeah.
And there were definitely moments where, like, how do we even know, like, we can trust this guy?
Yeah.
Because we didn't know anything about him. I had that thought. I had that thought early on at some points. But no, he's the GOAT. I
No,
love
side note,
Shiba.
I really enjoyed that we know how his sorcery works now.
Yeah.
One theory I'll mention is that a lot of people were speculating that his hand on Kunishige, was actually like taking the heat off of him and transferring it somewhere else. So that's kind of
Oh, that's a really cool theory. I
yeah. It's
don't
not
know if
confirmed,
that's
but
true. Yeah, but that would be really cool. That
yeah,
would be
it
really
would.
cool.
It's probably not because he's still fucking sweating
Yeah, yeah,
anyways.
yeah.
But
Yeah. All right, but on to some news. We are also okay. So first news, we'll get to this in a sec. But the final volume cover of Part 1, Volume 12, has been revealed. We'll actually get to that. We'll make a tier list of all the volume covers in a sec. But I want to touch on some news. Anime NYC happened this weekend. I believe this was the final stop in the United States for the Kagurabachi anime tour. We had Anime Expo previous month. Now we have Anime NYC. And they did show that first episode once again. All of the tweets I saw were just like basically hype. So people very excited. That makes me very excited. Apparently the line was like crazy too.
Yeah, that was insane. Up there. Bachi Bros went crazy.
Yeah. Apparently Mayor Mamdani made an appearance. Is what some people said. I didn't see any pictures or anything. I know he put out a statement acknowledging it, so that was
I mean, no, I think I did see some people's. I don't know if it was a joke or not, but I mean, he made
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
like he made an appearance. If he made an appearance at the Bachi booth, that'd be really cool.
That'd be insane.
I saw some tweets of people saying like they're showing like the messed up city or something, or like a war zone for like from one of the panels. And they're like, "Where's Mom Donnie? What do you need her?"
Yeah, those memes are funny.
But then I think I will say I'll mention this one last thing. A lot of the hype tweets this time are talking about Pacific panels, and I hate that I read some of them. I'm not going to talk about it here. But it really does make me excited about the anime. And it's probably going to be because usually when I read something, I never watch the anime, but this time I might actually.
You have to. You have to, because then we'll get to talk about it on the pod too.
Yeah, that's true.
And also, it's just, I mean, like, it's gonna be worth it. Like, it's gonna be completely worth it. You know, it's gonna be worth it.
Yeah, it'll be worth it.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys watching. I don't know what footage I'll throw on the screen while this all plays, but quick shout outs. If you guys are enjoyers of Pokemon, check out Moonlit Gaming. That is our gaming/Pokemon channel. We've been posting on that consistently. I will still be working on some of these scripted videos for this channel in the background, although it is difficult to always find the time to consistently sit down and get through those scripted videos, which is why we started doing the pods. These will still be happening monthly, so, you know, for those who stick around, we'll see you guys next month. And yeah, we appreciate you guys for sticking with us. Please drop a like or subscribe if you like what we had to say. If you thought this was an interesting conversation, join the conversation yourselves in the comment section below. Help us grow our channel. We would greatly appreciate it. And until next month, we'll see you guys.
Maybe next week, me in your head while you're reading a new chapter.
What? No, like I didn't understand.
Oh, like maybe you'll see me in your head talking while you're reading the next chapter.
Oh, like for the viewers. I see.
You.
Yeah, there you go. I thought you were talking to me. I was confused.
Oh no.
Okay. All right, see ya.
All right, bye.